Have you ever noticed how some people stay calm even when life seems to be falling apart, while others feel overwhelmed by the smallest disruption? That difference is not always about talent, luck, or personality. Very often, it comes down to one thing: a way of thinking, a way of living. And that is exactly where Stoicism enters the picture. On Stoicism Breath, we are not talking about empty motivation or trendy advice that sounds good for a moment and disappears by tomorrow. We are talking about a philosophy that has guided warriors, leaders, and ordinary people for centuries. A philosophy that teaches you how to meet fear without collapsing, how to face difficulty without losing yourself, and how to build a life rooted in peace, strength, and purpose. If life has ever felt unpredictable to you, like a roller coaster you never agreed to ride, then this message matters. Because Stoicism does not promise to remove chaos from your life. It teaches you how to remain steady within it. It shows you that peace is not something you find when life becomes easy. Peace is something you create by the way you respond to life. And that brings us to the first life-changing decision: embracing discomfort as a teacher. Most people naturally move toward comfort. It feels safe, familiar, pleasant. Think about your warm bed in the morning, the routine that asks nothing from you, the habits that keep life easy and predictable. There is nothing wrong with comfort in itself. But the problem begins when comfort becomes the place where you live all the time. Because then, little by little, comfort stops being rest and starts becoming a cage. Imagine waking up 1 hour earlier than usual. Not because you have to, but because you choose to. Maybe you use that time to sit in silence, to work out, to reflect, or to simply begin the day with intention instead of rushing into it. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind resists. Your body resists. But that is exactly the point. That discomfort is doing something important. It is training you. It is teaching you that you are capable of doing hard things even when you do not feel like doing them. And that lesson matters far beyond the morning. Because once you learn that you can act with discipline in small moments, you begin to trust yourself in bigger ones. Seneca understood this deeply. He would sometimes choose to live with less on purpose. Simple food, basic clothing, fewer comforts. Not because he wanted to suffer, but because he wanted to remember something powerful. That his peace did not depend on luxury. That his strength did not depend on ideal conditions. That his happiness came from who he was, not from what he had. That idea is incredibly important today. We live in a world that constantly teaches people to chase comfort, convenience, and distraction. But Stoicism asks a different question. What happens when comfort keeps you from growing? What happens when the very thing that feels safe is also the thing keeping you small? Sometimes comfort looks harmless. Taking the elevator instead of the stairs. Avoiding a difficult conversation because it feels awkward. Spending another hour in front of a screen instead of reading, reflecting, or being present with someone you love. These may seem like tiny decisions, but repeated over time, they shape who you become. Because growth rarely happens in comfort. Growth happens when you stretch. When you choose effort over ease. When you step into the space where you are slightly uncomfortable but fully alive. And here is what makes this so powerful. Embracing discomfort is not about punishment. It is not about making life hard just for the sake of it. It is about discovering a deeper kind of contentment. The kind that does not collapse when circumstances change. The kind that comes from knowing you can handle more than you once believed. So as you move through your day, ask yourself something simple. Where have I become too comfortable to grow? Where can I choose a little more discipline, a little more courage, a little more honesty? Maybe it is getting up earlier. Maybe it is having the conversation you have been avoiding. Maybe it is turning off the noise and spending time alone with your thoughts. Whatever it is, do not underestimate it. Because every time you willingly choose a little discomfort, you are strengthening something inside yourself. You are building resilience. You are training your character. You are becoming less dependent on circumstances and more rooted in your own inner power. That is the Stoic way. Not running from difficulty, but learning from it. Not worshiping comfort, but using challenge to reveal strength. And often, it is just outside the edge of comfort that you meet the strongest version of yourself. On Stoicism Breath, once you begin to tap into your inner strength, something powerful starts to shift. Life is no longer just about staying comfortable. It becomes about living with purpose, direction, and quiet confidence. And this brings us to the next decision that can truly change everything. Actively welcoming challenges. Think about your body for a moment. Muscles do not grow when they are at rest all the time. They grow when they are tested, when they are pushed, when they face resistance. Your mind works the same way. Your character works the same way. Without challenge, there is no real growth. There is only stagnation disguised as stability. Now imagine this. You are given a project at work that feels overwhelming. It is bigger than anything you have handled before. Your first instinct might be to feel stressed, maybe even to avoid it or rush through it just to get it over with. That is the natural reaction. But what if you changed the way you looked at it? What if instead of seeing it as a burden, you saw it as a doorway to new skills, a doorway to discovering abilities you did not even know you had, a doorway to becoming someone stronger, more capable, more confident? That is the Stoic shift. And it is simple, but not always easy. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, you begin asking, what is this here to teach me? Epictetus once said that difficulties show us who we really are. And if you think about it, that is true. When everything is easy, anyone can appear calm, patient, and strong. But when pressure arrives, that is when your real character reveals itself. Challenges are like mirrors. They reflect your current state. But they are also like fire. They shape you, refine you, and forge you into something stronger. So how do you apply this in your daily life? It starts with a pause. The next time something difficult shows up, do not react immediately. Take a breath. Give yourself a moment. And then ask a better question. What can I learn from this moment? Maybe you have a presentation that makes you nervous. Instead of avoiding it, see it as a chance to improve how you communicate. Maybe there is a difficult conversation you have been putting off. Instead of fearing it, see it as an opportunity to build honesty and deeper understanding. Even something as simple as pushing through a tough workout becomes more than just physical effort. It becomes a lesson in discipline and resilience. When you start to see challenges this way, everything changes. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You begin to feel like you are participating in your own growth. You are no longer just reacting. You are choosing how you evolve. And here is the key insight. Welcoming challenges does not mean you have to go looking for pain or make your life unnecessarily hard. It simply means recognizing that obstacles are not meaningless interruptions. They are part of the process. They carry value, even when it is hidden at first. Every challenge is like a puzzle placed in front of you. Not to defeat you, but to stretch you. To expand your limits. To help you discover how much more you are capable of handling. And when you begin to approach life with that mindset, something empowering happens. You start to trust yourself more. You start to see yourself as someone who can adapt, who can grow, who can handle whatever comes next. So the next time life throws something unexpected your way, take a deep breath. Do not shrink. Do not run. Stand still for a moment and remind yourself this is an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to learn, to become stronger than you were yesterday. That is the Stoic way. Turning every obstacle into a stepping stone. Turning every challenge into a chance to become the best version of yourself. And as you continue this journey on Stoicism Breath, there is another powerful decision waiting for you. Choosing empathy in communication. Think about the last time you had an argument with someone you care about. Maybe a friend, a partner, or a family member. In that moment, what usually happens? You focus on your point. You prepare your response. You wait for your turn to speak. And without realizing it, you stop truly listening. This is where Stoicism offers something different. It invites you to pause, to step back, to soften your reaction just enough to create space for understanding. Instead of trying to win the conversation, you begin to understand the person. Marcus Aurelius once suggested that before pointing out someone else's faults, we should reflect on our own. Not to blame ourselves, but to remember something important. We are all human. We all make mistakes. We all see the world through our own limited perspective. When you begin from that place, empathy becomes easier, more natural, and far more powerful. So the next time you find yourself in a difficult conversation, try something different. Instead of rushing to respond, listen. Really listen. Ask yourself why they might feel the way they do. What experiences shape their perspective? What emotions are behind their words? You do not have to agree with them. That is not the goal. The goal is to understand. Because when people feel understood, something shifts. Walls begin to lower. Tension begins to dissolve. And what could have been a conflict becomes a real conversation. Empathy transforms the way we connect. It turns arguments into opportunities. It replaces distance with understanding. And over time, it does something even deeper. It changes you. You become more patient, more aware, more connected to the people around you. That is the quiet power of Stoicism. Not just building strength within yourself, but creating harmony in the way you relate to others. On Stoicism Breath, one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life does not come from changing the world around you. It comes from changing the way you listen. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, especially a difficult one, pause for a moment and notice your instinct. Most of us are not really listening. We are waiting. Waiting for our turn to speak, waiting to defend ourselves, waiting to prove a point. But what if, just for a moment, you did something different? What if you truly listened? Not just to the words being said, but to the meaning behind them. Not just to the tone, but to the emotion underneath. Not just to respond, but to understand. Ask yourself a simple but powerful question. Why might this person feel this way? What experiences shape this reaction? What are they not saying directly, but still trying to express? This is where empathy begins. And here is the truth that many people overlook. Empathy is not about agreeing. It is not about abandoning your own perspective. It is about acknowledging someone else's reality. It is about respecting the fact that their experience is real to them. When you communicate this way, something shifts. Conflicts begin to soften. Arguments turn into conversations. And people who once felt like opponents begin to feel like human beings again. Empathy builds bridges where walls used to stand. It creates connection where there was distance. And more importantly, it creates peace not just between you and others, but within yourself. Because when you stop trying to win every interaction, you start to understand it. When you stop reacting immediately, you start to respond wisely. And over time, this practice does something deeper. It changes you. You become more patient, more aware, more emotionally grounded. You begin to see that life is not just black and white. It is filled with nuance, perspective, and complexity. And that is the essence of Stoicism. Not just controlling your reactions, but creating harmony within yourself and with the world around you. So the next time you feel tension rising in a conversation, take a breath, slow down, step into their perspective for just a moment. You might be surprised at what opens up when you choose understanding over reaction. And from here, we move into another powerful decision, one that completely transforms how you face life itself. Embracing fate with joy. Most people think resilience means tolerating life, enduring it, pushing through it. But Stoicism teaches something deeper. It teaches you to embrace life, not just when it goes your way, but especially when it does not. Think about a moment when something important to you did not work out. A project you invested time and energy into suddenly collapsed. A plan you carefully built fell apart. A door you hoped would open stayed closed. Your first reaction is natural: frustration, disappointment, maybe even anger. But what if there is another way to look at it? What if in that exact moment, there is something hidden, a lesson, an opportunity, a redirection? Stoicism does not ask you to ignore pain. It does not ask you to pretend everything is perfect. Instead, it asks you to stay open, to look at every situation and ask, what is this here to teach me? How can this shape me into something stronger? This shift is subtle but powerful. You stop seeing events as purely good or bad. You begin to see them as meaningful. Imagine working hard on something only to have it canceled. Instead of staying stuck in disappointment, you step back. Maybe this is a chance to rethink your direction. Maybe it is an opportunity to improve a skill you have been neglecting. Maybe it is space being created for something better that you could not see before. This is not blind optimism. This is awareness. It is understanding that every change carries potential, even when it is uncomfortable. The Stoics had a phrase for this: amor fati, love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but embracing it fully. The good, the bad, the unexpected, everything becomes part of your path. And when you live this way, life changes. You are no longer thrown off balance by every disruption. You learn to move with life instead of fighting against it. Even small moments become opportunities. A delayed flight becomes time to reflect. A rejection becomes redirection. A setback becomes preparation. This mindset does not remove challenges, but it transforms your relationship with them. Instead of feeling like life is happening to you, you begin to feel like life is shaping you. So the next time something does not go your way, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what is the opportunity hidden inside this moment? Because often, what feels like an ending is quietly becoming a beginning. And that is the Stoic way, not resisting reality, but learning to rise with it, stronger, wiser, and more at peace. On Stoicism Breath, this mindset is not just about surviving life. It is about learning how to rise within it, because the truth is this: life will not slow down for you. It will not always go according to plan, and it will not always feel fair. But what if instead of resisting every twist and turn, you learn how to move with them? What if every setback became a signal, not a failure, but a growth waiting to happen? The next time life throws something unexpected your way, pause for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself a different question. Not why is this happening to me, but what is this trying to teach me? Because in those exact moments, when things feel uncertain, when things feel uncomfortable, that is where your strength is being built. That is where your character is being shaped. And often, those are the moments that quietly define who you become. This is the beauty of embracing fate with joy. It transforms even the hardest experiences into stepping stones, guiding you toward a life that is deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. Now let us take this one step further. If embracing life is the foundation, then understanding yourself is the next level. And that brings us to one of the most powerful daily practices in Stoicism: mindful reflection. Imagine ending each day not by scrolling endlessly or distracting yourself, but by sitting quietly for a few minutes and asking, what did I do well today? Where could I have done better? What did I learn? This simple habit might seem small, but over time it becomes life-changing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca practiced this every night, not to judge himself, not to criticize, but to grow. Think of it like a conversation with yourself, a moment of honesty without pressure, a space where you can observe your actions, understand your choices, and gently improve. Because every single day, you are collecting experiences. Every conversation, every decision, every reaction, they are all shaping you. And when you take the time to reflect, you turn those experiences into wisdom. You begin to notice patterns. You start to understand your emotions. You become more aware of how you respond to the world. For example, think about a difficult conversation you had recently. Instead of pushing it aside, imagine revisiting it for just a moment. Could you have listened more deeply? Could you have responded more calmly? Was there something the other person needed that you missed? This is not about regret. This is about refinement. Because each reflection is a step forward. Each insight is a small upgrade to who you are becoming. And over time, Those small upgrades compound. You become more thoughtful, more emotionally intelligent, more aligned with your values. This is how growth really happens, not in big dramatic moments, but in quiet, consistent awareness. This daily reflection connects you to the core Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, self-control. It helps you live intentionally instead of reacting automatically. And here is the most powerful part. You do not need hours. You do not need a perfect system. Just a few minutes at the end of your day. A simple pause. A simple check-in. But done consistently. It changes everything. Because when you reflect, you learn. And when you learn, you evolve. So as you move through your day, remember this. Every moment is giving you something. A lesson, a signal, a chance to grow. And when you choose to reflect, you make sure none of it is wasted. This is the Stoic way, becoming better not all at once, but one day, one thought, one reflection at a time. On Stoicism Breath, there is a powerful idea that can quietly transform the way you live your life. Most people believe peace is something you find somewhere else, in a quiet place, on a vacation, far away from stress. But what if that is not true? What if the greatest sense of calm you will ever experience is not out there, but already within you? Marcus Aurelius once reminded us that the best retreat is not in the mountains or by the ocean. It is inside your own mind. Think about that for a moment. In a world that constantly pulls your attention in every direction, notifications, deadlines, noise, expectations, you are always reacting, always moving, always doing, but rarely just being. And that is where the problem begins. Because when your mind is constantly stimulated, you lose connection with your inner voice. So how do you find it again? It starts with something simple: stillness. Not hours of silence. Not a perfect meditation routine. Just a few intentional moments in your day. Maybe it is sitting quietly in the morning before everything begins. Maybe it is a slow walk without your phone. Or even a few minutes alone with your thoughts and a cup of coffee. At first it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind will wander. You might feel restless. But stay with it, because something powerful begins to happen. You start to hear yourself more clearly, not the impulsive voice that reacts instantly, but the deeper voice that thinks, reflects, understands. This is where clarity lives. This is where better decisions are made. This is where you reconnect with who you truly are. And over time, these small moments of stillness become something more. They become your reset button, a space where you step away from the chaos of the world and return to yourself. Because the truth is, you cannot control everything happening around you, but you can control how you respond to it. And the best responses, the wisest choices, they do not come from stress. They come from calm. So instead of constantly searching for peace outside, start creating it within. Even just a few minutes a day can change everything. Because in stillness, you recharge. In stillness, you gain clarity. And in stillness, you find the strength you did not realize you already had. Now let us take this even further. Because once you learn to find calm within, you begin to understand one of the most important Stoic principles of all: the balance between control and surrender. Life is unpredictable. Things will not always go your way. And the more you try to control everything, the more exhausted you become. It is like trying to stop the ocean with your hands. No matter how hard you try, you cannot control the waves, but you can learn how to ride them. Think of yourself as the captain of a ship. You cannot control the wind. You cannot control the storm, but you can control how you steer, your direction, your decisions, your response. So the next time something does not go according to plan, pause for a moment. Ask yourself a simple question: is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, let it go. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. Because holding on to things you cannot change only drains your energy. But learning to release them, that is where freedom begins. And here is the shift that changes everything. When you stop fighting what you cannot control, you create space. Space for clarity. Space for growth. Space for peace. You begin to move with life instead of against it. Adapting. Adjusting. Continuing forward no matter what. This is the Stoic way. Not resisting reality, but mastering your response to it. So remember this. You do not need to escape your life to find peace. You only need to reconnect with yourself. And when you learn to balance control with surrender, you unlock a level of calm, strength, and resilience that no external circumstance can take away. On Stoicism Breath, there is one final shift that quietly changes everything. The moment you stop trying to control everything. Think about how much energy you spend every day, worrying about outcomes, other people, unexpected problems, things that have not even happened yet. It is exhausting. And the truth is, most of those things were never in your control to begin with. But here is where life becomes lighter. When you learn to separate what you can control from what you cannot, you take your power back. You stop fighting reality, and you start working with it. Imagine waking up each day with a clear focus. Your thoughts, your actions, your decisions. These are yours. Everything else, you let it come. You let it pass. This is not giving up. This is stepping into clarity. Marcus Aurelius once said that you have power over your mind, not outside events. And when you truly understand that, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing control, and you start building strength. Because real strength is not forcing the world to bend to your will. It is staying steady, focused, and calm, no matter what the world throws at you. Think about a moment recently when things did not go your way. Maybe a plan fell apart. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe life simply did not follow the script you expected. In that moment, you had two choices: resist and suffer, or accept and adapt. And that choice, that small internal decision, is where your power lives. When you practice this daily, something incredible begins to happen. You feel less anxious, less reactive, more grounded. You begin to move through life with intention instead of pressure. You focus your energy only on what truly matters. And slowly, peace becomes your default state, not something you have to chase. This balance between control and surrender is not just a concept. It is a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of responding, a way of growing. It allows you to stay centered even when everything around you feels uncertain. And that is the foundation of a strong and resilient life. Now take a step back and look at everything we have explored. These are not just ideas, they are decisions. 7 powerful decisions that can reshape the way you live, the way you think, and the way you experience the world. But here is the most important truth. Knowledge alone does not change your life. Action does. Every moment of your day is an opportunity. A small chance to apply what you have learned. A conversation where you choose empathy. A challenge where you choose growth. A setback where you choose acceptance. This is how transformation happens. Not all at once, but one decision at a time. So take a moment right now. Ask yourself, which of these principles can you start applying today? Because this is not a quick fix. This is a lifelong journey. A journey of becoming more aware, more resilient, more aligned with who you truly are. And remember, you are not just reacting to life. You are shaping it. Every thought, every action, every response. So as you move forward, keep learning, keep growing, keep choosing wisely. Because every day is a new chapter, and you have the power to make it meaningful. Stay grounded, stay strong, and keep walking the Stoic path.